So, hello. Thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful conference. I learned already a lot when I looked at some of the presentations you had before. So, I was asked to present to you the European CMT Research Association and what we are doing in this context. As you have probably heard from Filippo Genovese, the speaker before, that is the ECMTF, the European CMT Federation, which has among its objectives the support and encouragement and promotion of research in the area of CMT. And this is why one of the ideas we have created in Paris last year, in 23, and decided to create a new association, which is exactly this European CMT Research Association, non-profit charitable association founded in June 2024 and registered in September 2024. Who are the members? These are the top scientists, clinicians, and other health professionals on the one side, and on the other side, we have the patient organizations, pharma industry, and politicians, if you like. These shall act all together in a sort of multi-stakeholder approach to boost innovative CMT research in Europe. Because still we do not have a cure for CMT. And that's very bad because 130 years ago, CMT was discovered and still there's no cure. This is not criticizing the researchers, but it is a very sad fact just to be stated. So the ECRA, I would call it ECRA, this association is going to boost and try everything to promote research in Europe and beyond. It will work as a sort of incubator for joint research projects. It shall encourage the next generation researchers to work on CMT. Very often people do, even students, even professors, even doctors in our countries do not know about CMT. So we have to encourage to make known that CMT is a very bad disease and research is really rewarding area in CMT. We want to provide seed capital and expert advice for teams who are going to apply for grants to do some CMT research. We want to organize CMT specialist conferences, as we did. I will show you a picture very soon, and we did in Paris in 23, and we are going to do in 25, this October. We want to introduce new technologies in CMT research, which means, of course, IT and AI, in artificial intelligence. And we want to establish a patient-led CMT patient registry or a health database, which is the basis also for effective research in Europe. Look at this picture from the first European CMT Specialist Conference we held in Paris in June 2023. About 100 researchers gathered there in Paris to discuss new ways to boost and to encourage research and effective research in Europe and beyond. So now one of the projects and the outcome of Paris, of course, is that we want to have a second European CMT Specialists Conference, which will now be held in Antwerp the 23rd to 25th of October 25. And if you want or need a register and participate, you will find the click here. Of course, it is not easy to find a click if you are now in the room and listening to this, but you will get these slides, and then you can find the click. So we will have 150 participants to discuss breaking news from CMT research worldwide. First of all, new methods for diagnostics and genetics, therapeutical approaches for drug development, but also physiotherapy. So Joshua Burns is one of the greatest kings of physiotherapy and rehabilitation in this area. You just heard a wonderful introduction from him, how these things develop. And we are going to develop further things to increase the effectiveness of physiotherapy as for drug development. Data management, patient registries, health data banks. This is another subject which will be discussed in Antwerp. And then Joshua Burns mentioned that as well, clinical outcome measures and clinical trials. Outcome measures measuring is so important to know if any therapeutic approach has any useful effect or not. And also to understand the natural history, so how the disease develops in each case of each patient. Only if we know more about this, we will be able to do some reasonable and successful research. So then we want to promote joint research projects already in Antwerp. So we call for projects, and we will then, of course, mentor and also support the applications for grant for this kind of projects. And the whole thing altogether is going to be also an action for rising public awareness for CMT and for the need for a cure on CMT. This is our first big project for ECRA in this year. But there are other projects, as I mentioned already, the European patient-led CMT patient registry or health database based on existing registries with the aim to ensure free access to relevant health data for researchers. You know, CMT is a rare disease. The prevalence is 1 to 2,500 people. So 1 of 2,500 people has CMT. There's a dark number and many others who are not registered are perhaps existing, but we don't know about this. But every doctor, every center doing research in this area is lacking patience, so experience, because there are so few, relatively few people who have this disease. Then we want to provide access for CMT patients, easier to participate in CMT-related research projects. In the key word, the buzzword is patients as partners, to change also the role, the self-understanding of patients, that they are not only subjects and objects of treatment or not existing treatments, but they are partners in the research process. And that could encourage and that could increase and speed up the research process, lead to earlier discovery of therapies. And then to give them more access, easier access to clinical trials for newly developed drugs and therapies. All that also together with allowing AI-supported analysis of the natural history of the diverse types of CMT. So that's a big project which was decided already in Paris, but we are not yet very far in putting this into practice. Another project which we are starting already now in 5th of May, the first one, workshops and webinars on CMT research issues, like clinical research on pathophysiology, molecular targeting and therapy development. Second, application of artificial intelligence and other innovative technologies in CMT research, also a subject for webinars and workshops. And then third, bridging the geographical distance, telemedicine, digital care. What does it mean? In many cases, people are very remote from centers where reasonable, where good therapies or good care is taken for CMT patients. So many times it is in future easier to do this via the internet as far as possible. So many things can be done through telemedicine and digital care, and we will develop certain technologies on this. Now, if you want to have more information for the Antwerp conference website, you can tick on this address. And the ECRA website, of course, now it's still in the making, but it's planned to be ready in June 2025. Let me thank you so much for this time and invite you, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. And if the time is running out, of course, you will also be able to send an email to Ingolf, ecmtf.org. That's so easy, you can even note this and remark and remember this by heart. Thank you, and I'm happy to have your questions now.